What is this?
To be true, that's because it most definitely, certainly, oh my god, is. They ought to call it Iranolestra.
You're
Because
fucking
it
shit.
makes you more hungry. It's supposed to like be a diet thing, but it actually makes you more hungry.
Yes or
Well,
no?
yeah,
Yeah,
I would
that's
say
right.
it is because it seems
14
deliberately
seconds.
contrary
Yeah,
to
I'm
what was
sure.
expected. Right? It's like buying a
I'm fucking kidding,
food
man.
belt that kills you. It's like the O. Henry of foods. There we go. It's like the Shyamalan of snacks.
Yeah, it's like rain on your wedding day. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. There we go. We got there. I feel like we got the reference. Yes, Olestra, Iran Olestra. What's the hubbub with this stuff? Well, in addition to actually being
The hubbub.
an appetite increaser, it has
You know
been
what?
linked to
You guys only get good at around like 5 o'clock when you start fucking really getting into the fucking blow or some shit. Like, I don't know. Like, that's when they talk about some real fucking shit.
Yeah.
The mic's not working even. That's really good. The fucking mic for.
Just go find some chips. I'm sure you can find some with that ingredient because it is still legal in the United States. And give yourself a few hours off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Go home first.
It's research.
Research.
You'll probably see it listed as Olean, which is like the brand name. You might even see Olestra somewhere. Probably in American foods you'll find Olean.
You will not find it in Canada or Europe, however, because that's where it is banned. What else you might be thinking? What else at this time? What other terrifying things did I have on my plate when I sat down and said, I'm going to listen to this podcast while I have a nosh?
Do you guys even know? That's the sad part. You guys know how fucking, like, this is bullshit, just babble bullshit.
It's so famous in mystery novels of yesteryear, it's still allowed in small levels in chicken feed. Here in the U.S., not in the European Union.
It's actually such an effective poison in those days of yesteryear because they didn't actually have a test for it. That didn't come until much later. Yeah, and here's the thing when you have arsenic in chicken feed, it gets in those chickens. Pesky thing about chicken feed. It gets into the chickens, and then the chickens somehow get into you, and then, there's arsenic in you. That's not good.
It's not pretty ideal. Yeah, like,
that's... stresses that the amount of
you guys are gonna fucking solve the big case soon. I'm sure of it.
A lot of this has been exaggerated on the internet. It's not as if someone just tried to kill a bunch of chickens, found out they loved arsenic, and said, "Hey, we've got a good thing going."
Yeah.
It goes back to a substance called Roxarsone, which is made by Pfizer,
of course.
And they announced that they would discontinue the sale of the additive, but at the time, this was still a very controversial thing.
But Pfizer owns us.
2011, the FDA announced that Pfizer, through its subsidiary Alpharma, voluntarily suspended the sale of this stuff, which is also called 3-nitro, because of an FDA study that detected inorganic arsenic at higher levels, specifically in the livers of chickens.
Did you say 3-nitro?
3-nitro.
I don't understand why people even eat liver.
Beverage.
Like, liver is what filters out all the bad shit.
For someone, I'm really into nicknames now that have specific numbers.
I really like 3-nitro.
Well, maybe that could be, maybe we should, do you think Paul would let us call it 3-nitro?
Paul 3-nitro decant?
Yeah, super producer Paul 3-nitro.
3-dog nitro.
There we go.
Oh, dig it.
And then
the
list of these additives, it goes on and on and on. There are going to be several that we don't have time to mention today. One example would be that shiny coating on apples. Short name is DPA. That is also banned in other countries, but available here in the U.S.
And make sure you wash your apples.
And where else? Canada, because this is the Canadian channel. We're in Canada.
Was wearing DPA. Oh God, Snotty. It looked like fabric.
They were DP ants.
They were. Oh, as we search for a DP answer to the to the controversy surrounding the FDA, what we learn is that these are just some of the common contaminants or additives, if you prefer, that you might have eaten recently, and this leads people to larger
Come
concerns,
on,
not just folks
Jesus.
who would describe as health nuts, but people who are just, see themselves as reasonable, right? They might splurge on a huge steak now and then, but usually they're like 3 square meals a day, a couple of snacks, right? Even people who don't consider themselves health nuts often believe that the FDA may be too closely related to the industries it is meant to oversee. No, it ain't so.
You can say it as many times as you want to on a podcast like this. There is a revolving door between private industry and government regulators, and I don't know how you close it because it revolves. You can't close it, and it's just going to exist.
Before 1992, the FDA was, as you would expect, fully regulated and mainly funded by the U.S. government. However, in 1992, Congress passed the Prescription Drug User Fee Act, or PDUFA. I knew you'd like that one, making the pharmaceutical industry much less like a force or a sphere of business to be overseen and much more like a client for whom the FDA was performing a service.
Anyone who's ever worked as a freelancer knows what you do to a client. You work tirelessly to make them happy so that they'll pay you.
And critics of this situation, this post-1992 situation, say that now
we're paying you for them, use me more.
Is screwing up left and right, and their general argument is that the FDA should be considering the U.S. public, and the health of the U.S. public as its primary client, not the industries. And to be completely clear, this enters the realm of the drug industry and the FDA. There's more money involved there. We also know that the FDA has been pursuing special relationships with media outlets. In 2016, there was an article in Scientific American where an author named Charles C. pointed out that the FDA was doing this move where they would offer to give some media outlets early scoops on a story, with the condition being that the FDA got to choose who these journalists talked to about it afterwards. So, like, if
kind of like how we kick out the ones that we don't like from even doing QA.
PRI.
Like, come on.
PRI. Matt works for PRI, and he goes to the FDA, who will be played by Noel. We've worked on this role. Here I am. And Noel, being the FDA, gives Matt, being PRI, the scoop, and then Matt attempts to go to someone who disagrees with the FDA, and that could be either Paul or me, depending on how we want to do the casting, and then fundamentally violates a legal precept. PRI huge trouble. Matt might get fired, and PRI would get blacklisted from these other reports until they became public knowledge. You guys, I'm having it.